The Dead of Summer by Mary Jungstedt. Read by Simon Shepherd. From the Lighthouse Keeper's Diary, the island of Gotland, August 1864. In the early morning hour of the 25th of August, at 10 minutes after midnight, on the southeast side of the island, the Russian steamship Zadnik ran aground with a crew of 140, of which 3 officers and 12 seamen drowned. All of the others were rescued. A hard easterly storm with rain. Monday, the 10th of July. As night gave way to morning, a solitary car was driving north on the main road that cut across the island of Faro. The rain had stopped. Heavy clouds were still covering the sky in grey sheets. The birds had been singing since 3 a.m. The light of dawn was spreading across the fields and meadows. Through the haze, it was possible to glimpse juniper bushes, the crooked trunks of dwarf pines and stone walls dividing the fields. There were also farm buildings made of Gotland limestone, seemingly scattered about haphazardly, along with an occasional windmill, though the sails had long since disappeared. Flocks of black sheep could be seen in the pastures. Indolently they got to their feet one after another, and began grazing on the meagre grass offered by the mostly bare earth. Calm still reigned at the Suspense campsite in the north of Faro, although the area was fully occupied now in the middle of summer. The campsite extended for 3 kilometres along the beach with its fine-grained sand. Caravans and tents were decoratively lined up in a meticulously ordered pattern. The Swedish flags adorning the entrance drooped limply from their poles. Here and there round grilles had been set up, along with plastic tables which still had wine glasses standing on them, left over from the dinners served the previous evening. Bath towels soaked from the nighttime rain had been fastened with clothes pegs to the improvised clotheslines. There were striped collapsible deck chairs in bright colours, inflatable mattresses and beach toys, a few bikes. In the centre of the grounds stood a low wooden building with several doors leading to a kitchen, laundry room, toilets and showers, a well-organised holiday community just a stone's throw from the sea. In one of the caravans parked near the perimeter of the campsite, Peter Bouvida abruptly came wide awake. At exactly 5 a.m. he opened his eyes. Out of old habit he checked the time on his watch, which lay on a shelf next to the bed. Always the same thing. Sleeping late in the morning was not part of his world. He lay in bed staring up at the ceiling for a while, but soon realised that he wasn't going to be able to go back to sleep. Not on this morning either. All those years working construction had taken their toll on him, and the habit of getting up early was hard to break, although he really didn't mind. He appreciated having some time to himself before Vendila and the kids got up. He usually went out for a run and then did some calisthenics. During the night he'd lain in bed for a long time listening to the pattering of the rain on the metal roof of the caravan. He hadn't slept well. Now the rain seemed to have stopped, and faint morning light was seeping through the thin cotton curtains. He looked at his sleeping wife. Her blanket had slipped off, and she was lying on her side. At 5'11", she was slightly taller than he was. He found that sexy. He ran his eyes over her slender legs, the curve of her hips, and he could just make out her small breasts. He felt himself getting an erection, but this was not the right time for it. The kids were lying nearby in their narrow bunks. 5-year-old William with his mouth open and his arms comfortably stretched above his head as if he owned the whole world. Michaela curled up in a fetal position, 3 years old, and holding her teddy bear in her arms. They had 4 weeks ahead of them with very few obligations or demands. First here on the island of Faro, and later 2 weeks in Majorca. The company had been doing well lately. "Are you awake?" He heard Vendila's clear and slightly drawling voice behind him, just as he was about to open the door. "Yes, sweetheart, I'm going out for a run." "Wait. Come back here." Still lying on her side, she stretched out her arms towards him. He burrowed his head against her breasts, warm with sleep, and wrapped his arms around her. In their relationship, she was the strong one. In spite of his robust appearance, he was actually fragile and vulnerable. Nobody who knew them realized how things really stood. Their friends never saw
Sample complete. Ready to continue?